Hi, very good morning students. Today we are going to deal a new chapter that is called as chemical bonding. So before going into this chapter in detail, first of all we shall know what is meant by bonding. And bonding is nothing but it will be seen in chemicals, so it is called as chemical bonding. And bonding it has been defined as the attractive forces that holds two or more constituent atoms or particles of oppositely charged together in different chemical species is called as chemical bond. See, there may be attractive force between two atoms, okay, or between the oppositely charged particles, then that results in the formation of the bond. That attractive force itself is called as bond. And in the bond formation, the attractive forces and the repulsive forces will be in equilibrium, means the force of attraction between the atoms will be equal to the repulsion between the atoms. What happens if attractive force is dominant? Attractive force is dominant means the both will combine and form only one atom. If repulsive forces are dominant, they will repel and they will go far apart, so that there will be no formation of the bonding. So if you go for the types of the chemical bonding, it is interatomic bonding and as well as intermolecular bonding. You can see the bonding in between atoms as well as between the molecules. If you see between atoms, those are called as interatomic bonding. It can be classified as ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, metallic bond. So, and that bond, these bonds will be having high amount of energy. So it requires formation high amount of energy. After breaking also, they will be liberating a lot of amount of energy. Okay. So approximately 200 to 400 kilojoules per mole. If you go between the intermolecular forces or intermolecular bond, that is nothing but van der Waals forces. These are the main thing. In van der Waals forces, these are the types. Dipole-dipole van der Waals force, dipole-induced dipole van der Waals force, ion-dipole van der Waals force, as well as ion-induced dipole van der Waals force and induced dipole van der Waals forces. We will be learning regarding these in the upcoming classes, right? And in this chapter 90% we will be studying regarding this. Okay, and there is one more hydrogen bonding in the intermolecular bonding, that will be intramolecular hydrogen bonding as well as intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay students, right, in this chapter we will be mainly dealing with the ionic bond, how the ionic bond formation will happen, lattice energy means how much of energy is required for the breaking of the bond, properties of the ionic bond as well as the percentage of the covalent character in the ionic bond by using the Fasan rules. And next we will be going for the covalent bond, how it is formed and the structure of the molecules. After forming the covalent bond, what will be the structure of the molecule, the dipole moment in the covalent bond as well as the coordinate covalent bond present in the coordinate covalent bond regarding the covalent molecules. And the theories what will be coming across are valency bond theory, where we will be learning sigma and pi bond. Next, Vesper theory, valency shell electron pair repulsion theory. Okay. These theories you have come across in your 10th standard itself. MOT, molecular orbital theory. By using this theory, we will be finding the magnetic nature of the molecules, bond energy among the molecules, which will be means relative bond energy as well as the relative bond length. Okay, students. Now, if you see, first question comes: what is the reason for the formation of the bond? And in older version, they used to say, Koselleck and Lewis have said that for the presence of 8 electrons in the valency shell makes that particular atom or ion very stable. Means 8 electrons, if any atom is possessing 8 electrons in the valency shell, that is called as octet rule. And presence of 8 electrons in the valency shell, it makes it stable. It makes that particular atom or ion stable. For example, if you see noble gases will be having 8 electrons in the valency shell, so that they are inert. Inert means inactive. They are not ready to react with any other material. So this theory, it is called as electronic theory of valence or chemical bond theory or modern theory of the valence. Means the last shell in an atom, the last shell, it is called as valency shell, and the electrons whatever that are present in the last shell are called as valence electrons. Apart from the valence electrons, whatever the electrons are present, those are called as core electrons, means nucleus along with inner electrons apart from the outer electrons, means apart from the valence shell electrons, those are called as core electrons. Nucleus plus inner electrons together, it is called as kernel. Okay, whatever the electrons are present in the valence shell, those are called as valence electrons. Apart from the valence shell, whatever the electrons are present inside along with the nucleus, it is called as kernel. What is the main content of this theory? This Koselleck theory, Koselleck and Lewis proposed this theory in 1916. What does it say? It says that presence of 8 electrons in the valence shell of an atom makes it more stable, so that it will not react with any other element, so that it attains octet configuration. This is what they have said. But there are some exceptions. Okay, exception is helium. For hydrogen and helium, presence of 2 electrons in the valence shell itself, it makes it stable. Okay, helium will be having only 2 electrons in the outer shell, but it is stable. Chemically inert means it is duplet configuration, means helium will be having 2 electrons only, but also it is stable, right? Atoms attain stable configuration either by transferring electrons or by sharing electrons. If you are getting electrons by transferring the electrons, means from one atom to other atom you are sending electrons, means it is transferring, or by sharing the electrons. Okay, if you are getting the electrons by transferring electrons, then that is called as electrovalence bond or ionic bond. And if you are getting the electrons by sharing, then that is called as covalent bond. The electrons present in the valence shell of an atom which is forming covalent bond are called as covalence electrons, right? And the nature of the bond, whatever that is formed, whether it is ionic bond or covalent bond, it depends upon the nature of the element, either it is electropositive or electronegative. Okay, electropositive. Suppose, let me take one example like sodium. Sodium configuration is neon 3s1. Okay, after losing one electron, because if it loses one electron in the 3s orbit, it will be having 6 electrons in the valence shell, so that 2s2 2p6 it will be getting 1 electron. Always remember, this should be seen in the gaseous state only. So sodium in the gaseous state, after losing 1 electron, it has been converted to sodium plus, so that it is having 8 electrons in the valence shell. It is in gaseous state. Okay, and the chlorine gas plus, it is taking 1 electron, it is getting converted to Cl minus, and it is forming argon. Generally, the chlorine configuration in the gaseous state, it is 3s2 3p5. After gaining 1 electron, it forms 3s2 3p6. So whatever the Na plus in the gaseous state formed and the chlorine minus gaseous state formed here, those two will react and they will form NaCl. NaCl, this is solid structure. So students, whatever I have done with respect to Na and Cl, you do with respect to CaF2. Means you write the here Ca, write the configuration here. After losing, how many electrons calcium will lose? Calcium will lose 2 electrons. Okay. And how many electrons will each fluorine take? Each fluorine takes only 1 electron. You are having 2 fluorines here, so that it takes 2 electrons and gets converted to F2. F2 gas, Ca in gas, you combine both the things, you will be getting CaF2 in solid structure. Okay, that is the homework for you students. Next, directly we can say here, if there are 2 atoms, one is electropositive and the other is electronegative, the type of bond formation among those 2 elements is ionic bonding. If both the elements are electronegative, the bond formed between the elements is covalent bond or dative bond. If both the elements are electropositive, then the bond formed is metallic bond. Generally, this metallic bond can be seen in D block elements. Okay, electropositive means generally first year and second year group. See, first year group, you remove the hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and if you go for the second group, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, radium. Generally, these are termed as electropositive, means they are ready to give electrons. And going for 6th year and 7th year group. 6th year group, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and 7th year group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astenine. These are the things that comes under the electronegative atoms. So electropositive you can see basically in D block elements. Those are scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, zinc. In the same way, yttrium to cadmium as well as lanthanum to mercury, something like that, zinc, cadmium, mercury. You can see their metallic elements. We'll be learning with respect to D block. So what the scientist Koszalin Lewis had there, no? The Lewis, what he has said, presence of valence electrons are represented in the form of the dots. Okay. So lithium is having 1 valence electron, it has represented with 1 dot. Beryllium is having 2 electrons, so it has been represented with 2 dots. Boron with 3 dots. See, general Lewis dot structures for all the groups. We are having 8 groups, right? In the total periodic table, how many groups we have? We are having 18 groups. Okay. D block you will be having 10 groups and the remaining you will be having 8. Apart from the D block, we are studying group 1A. You will be having valence 1 electron, 2A, 2, 3A. You will be having 3 valence electrons. 4th A you will be having 4 valence electrons. 5th A you will be having 5 valence electrons. 6th A you will be having 6. And 7th A you will be having 7. Okay. See, if you take from first year, second year, third year, these are very ready to lose the electrons, so that they will be getting the octet configuration. Lithium you will be getting duplet configuration. And going for 5th, 6th, 7th, these are ready to gain electrons. See, instead of losing 5, it is very easy to take 3. So it takes 3 electrons. So it is by taking electron, the element attains the charge of minus. Okay, if it loses electrons, it attains the charge of plus. So I have represented one molecule, that is ethene, C2H4. Okay, so single bond represents 2 electrons. Here sharing of electrons is taking place. So 1 electron of carbon, 2, 3, 4, because carbon belongs to 4th group, right? Okay, carbon 4 electrons, here 2 electrons, here 1 electron, here 1 electron. Hydrogen 1 electron, hydrogen 1 electron. Here this carbon will be having 4 electrons, so here 2, here 1, here 1. So 4, hydrogen 1 electron, this hydrogen 1 electron. So this hydrogen is having, this carbon is having how many valence electrons? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This carbon is having how many? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Carbon and helium will be having only duplet configuration, not octet. Right, in the same way, if you go for N2, see, N2 how many you are having? See here, N is nothing but 5. So 1, 2, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one for this nitrogen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This nitrogen assumes that all the electrons, the shared electrons as well as this electrons belongs to this one. This nitrogen also assumes the same way. These 3 electrons as well as these 2 electrons belongs to it one. So if you take this nitrogen, what happens? 6, 7, 8. So this one is octet stable. This, if you go for this nitrogen, 6, 2, 8. It is stable. Okay. In the same way, I have drawn for C2H2 molecule. This is ethylene or acetylene compound, as you will be seeing in your lower classes with respect to organic chemistry. In this year also, we will be learning all the things. Right. Now we have learnt why this reaction is occurring. Okay. Why a bond formation is occurring. General, the rule is, what they have said is, if they have 8 electrons in the valence shell, it will be stable. Okay. But there are certain limitations. Generally, this theory is most applicable for the organic compounds, first thing, and it is not applicable for the second period of the periodic table. Suppose if you see second period, what you will be having? Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. These are the elements present in the second period of the periodic table, right? However, this octet rule is violated in 3 conditions. 1, it is not applicable for the second period elements like lithium, beryllium, boron. So lithium, Cl, LiCl. Valence electrons, this one is having 1, this one is having 1. So this will be having 8, but lithium will be having only 2. Okay. So lithium is not satisfied. Suppose if you go for beryllium BeH2, so this will be the structure. Beryllium valence electrons 1, 1, 2. 2 will be having, and hydrogen donates 1, hydrogen donates 1. So for hydrogen it is satisfied duplet, because hydrogen and helium are duplet configuration. For beryllium, here 2, only 4. So it is again not satisfied because 8 is required, right? Suppose if you go for BCl3, boron, how many will be having? In valence electrons you will be having 3. Chlorine is donating 1. Chlorine 8 is satisfied because it is having like this condition. Chlorine 8 okay, but boron here 2, here 2, here 2. Total it is 6. So these are not satisfying the condition. Okay, they will be having only these 2. This one is having 4, this one is having 6, and this is having only 2. So violated from the octet rule. So next one, in some molecules, Ca, that is central atom, is having more than 8 electrons. This condition less than 8 electrons, and this condition more than 8 electrons. But these are stable even though they are having greater than 8 electrons. See PF5, phosphorus will be having 5th group, 5 electrons. Each fluorine donates 1 electron. So 5 fluorines are there, so totally 10 electrons. If you go for SF6, sulfur belongs to 6th group, it is having valence electron 6. And fluorine, it is 6, totally 12. IF7, it is 14, 7 plus 7. There are some molecules with odd electrons, those are also stable, like N double bond O. See, for oxygen it is okay, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, for nitrogen, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only this is having 7. If you see N2O, this molecule, here only 7, here only 6. But this one is 8. It is satisfied. But these two, not satisfying. So, this is having 8 electrons. These are not having 8 electrons. So, these are the exceptions. So, 3 exceptions. One is second period elements will not accept this octet rule. And there are some molecules which are having greater than 8 electrons. Those are stable. And there are molecules certain with odd number, those are also stable. This could not be explained. It means this presence of 8 electrons in the valence shell is not 100% accepted. It is accepted to some extent. Okay, right? So students, now I am giving the molecule, some molecules like CH4, NH3H2O, CO2, C6H6, C2H2, C2H4, BeCl2, BCl3, PCl5 and SF6, IF7. So this is the homework for you. I am representing some molecules. Suppose CH4, central atom, means which will be central atom. So this is carbon is the central atom. Total number of valence electrons. How much it will be? Total number of valence electrons are nothing but 8. See, carbon I have drawn here. 2 electrons, carbon will be having 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this hydrogen is 2, this hydrogen is 2, this hydrogen 2, 2. So hydrogen 2 is satisfied. Carbon 8. Okay, in the same way go for nitrogen. Nitrogen valence electrons, how many? 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hydrogen 1, 1, 1, 1. Sorry, only here not there. 1, 1, 1. So what happens? Nitrogen is having 2, 2, 2, 2, 8. Hydrogen 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, central atom is nitrogen. Total valence electrons for the central atom is 8. In the same way, here C2H6. You will be getting the molecule like this. For this carbon, it is 8. Because like this, carbon has 4 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hydrogen gives 1. Hydrogen gives 1. Hydrogen gives 1. And here carbon gives 1. So what happens? For this carbon, it is 8. For this carbon also, it is 8. In the same way, you draw for each and every element. Suppose I am going for IF7. IF7, this has been drawn like this. Iodine will be having 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fluorine will be having 1, 1, 2, here 1. For this fluorine 1, this fluorine 1, this fluorine 1. So totally 7 fluorines are there. Iodine gives 7, fluorine gives 7. Totally it is 14. Okay, students, this is the homework for you. Thank you.